Hello and welcome back to HobTech Cars. Today I wanted to showcase the new car that I have on the channel. You may have seen it on my Instagram, but I've never shown it on YouTube. So I have purchased or acquired an MGB Roadster. It's a 1971 model. I'm still learning a lot about these cars, but essentially it was fully restored in 2005 in the UK before being brought over here, and I think it has two Irish owners before coming to myself. The car is a 1.8 litre petrol, 95 horsepower, and has overdrive and a few little cool features that I'll explain and showcase in the coming months. So today I just wanted to catch everyone up on where I am with the car and showcase its journey to arriving in my hands. So getting used to this car was a bit of a challenge, even getting used to the choke, things like that. So essentially, when I got this car, I was trying to start it up and couldn't get it going. I thought it might be a problem with the starter or the ignition. Essentially, it's just that the battery was completely dead. So once I popped in a new battery or jumped off another car, I could get the car driving for a few minutes, enough to drive around the yard and prove that the car is functioning fine. So as you can see in the video, the car is in very good condition. It was dry stored for about 7 years, perfectly bone dry, no rust. I mean, absolutely zero rust underneath or on the body, so I'm very fortunate in that regard. Just needs a bit of TLC and a bit of love, so that's the journey it's going to be going on this channel. So I've had an adventurous history in my short time with this car. When towing it back to my home, the brakes went on fire on it. What happened was the front caliper seized, and essentially that friction between the brake disc and the caliper caused the fire. And I was very lucky to have a fire extinguisher with me. I was able to put it out with my father before it spread to the rest of the car. So the car did arrive by truck to my house. So the first thing I did was pop in a new battery from my local auto factors, and that cost about €90. Things are getting pricey these days, but it was actually the cheapest that I could source. So at this point, it was time to just give the car a good clean out. There's lots of stuff in the boot, lots of dust, a lot of fibers kind of from the rear carpet, and give the car a little bit of a wash. As you can see, it's a really, really solid, really excellent foundation for a project. So there's no dents, scratches, rust, bubbling on the arches, anything like that. I would say, if anything, this car is in better nick than my 1991 MR2, as you can see in the background there. While I was cleaning the car, I also took my Autoglym and cleaned this rear kind of perspex glassy effect plastic so that I could actually see out of the car. So after a bit of TLC, this is what the interior of the car looked like. This is just the result of a hoover, a bit of a scrub using Autoglym interior car shampoo. The car is finished off quite nicely. I don't know what these holes are about at the back of the tray, but I noticed the previous owner had duct tape over them, so I just proceeded to do the same. So at this point, there was nothing more to do with the car than to take it for a little test drive. And I've done maybe about 30 kilometers in short trips since I bought this car. This car is a real joy to drive. It definitely needs some TLC around the brakes and maybe the suspension, but it's incomparable to anything I've ever driven. Only driving cars that are 1990s or newer, you really feel connected to the road. Similar experience to my MR2, but just a bit more raw in this car. If you take a corner in this car at maybe 70 kilometers an hour, you feel like you're on a nice edge and that the car is about to turn over. It's just a lot of body roll, much more than I'm used to. It's 95 horsepower, which in its day was considered quite a fast car. It's well able to keep up with modern traffic. I don't want to drive this car too far until I get the brakes sorted, as they have a habit of boiling over on me. This is only a brief introduction to the car on this channel, but I already have some nice plans in my head and things that I'm excited to work on the car. I noticed that when the car was resprayed by a previous owner, it seems to be missing all its engine seals, so I'll do that. I'll just do some detailing of the engine bay and the interior, small little cracked plastics and things like that I can fix up. And as I mentioned on the performance side, it definitely needs an oil change and the brakes need some TLC. But in larger plans, I would love to I would love to lower this car ever so slightly, and there's a kit online I can get to do that for about £70 UK. I also am deeply interested in the supercharger kit available from Moss Motors, which would make this about 135 to 140 brake horsepower. It's a plug and play kit, and I think it retails at about £2,500. It's very tempting to have something that would be very unique. So these are all plans ahead anyway. So I hope you'll enjoy this car as much as I do, and I plan to keep it, as I said, for many years and work on it. So you'll see plenty of videos in the coming weeks and months of me working on this car. So that's my introduction to the car. Thanks a million for watching. Take care, and please remember to like, comment and subscribe. Good luck.